Hello everyone and welcome to the Cherry Heart podcast. I'm Sandra and this is a crochet, knitting and sewing type of podcast. You will be able to find the show notes for the things I talk about on my blog, which is cherryheart.co.uk. I'm on Instagram as Sandra Cherry HRT, and I'm that's the main place to find me around the internet, around the web. And you will also be able to navigate this video using either the timestamps in the description box below, or you'll see the little chapters marked across the bottom of the screen if you're using it on a device, and you can just click on them there. I think that's it on that bit, the intro bit. Excuse the light here, we have very awful light. It's currently raining at the moment and it's so dark. When we went out this morning, it was literally like night time when I went out with the dog. Yeah, it's really horrible. So it's very overcast, very dark, very wet, and I've actually got an extra light on to try and make it a little less hideous in here, but of course it's artificial light, so it kind of still looks a bit hideous, but we're just going to have to go with it because the only other day I can podcast is Thursday, and it's forecast even more rain on Thursday, so I don't think I'm going to get a better chance. So let's just go with it. You'll have to forgive how hideous everything is going to look in this light. So anyway, how have you been? What have you been up to? Did you enjoy a nice relaxing Christmas break? I hope you had a good one. I hope you got some time to craft and yeah, just chill out a little bit. So normally for us it's quite a good time to get some days where we can just sit around and just not have to worry about things, and if we're lucky, some nice picky bits, so we don't even have to worry about dinner too much because we can just have leftovers. So that's always nice. So yeah, I hope you had something that you could enjoy as well. And I have been quite busy crafting, so I don't know how long this episode will get. We'll see how we go. But since we last spoke, I have finished my lace and boxy jumper. Yes, so I think I finished it did I finish it just before Christmas? I think I did. I think I managed to finish it before. Let me do the traditional jumper dance so you can see the whole thing. So here we go, here it is. Yeah, I've got something on underneath today because it's not that warm, so it's a 3/4 sleeve, so this looks a little bit odd sticking out, but it's necessary. Let's show you the back. So it's kind of, well, it's a lace and fade boxy, so it's quite nice and wide and oversized, and it's got these beautiful lace panels, which I hope you can see all right. Right, I'll come and sit down again. So let's talk about the yarn I used. So I used this dandelion and dogwood yarn. So this is in Bottle Brush and Christmas Trees on her Perfect Sock. So that's the main colour. And then for the lace sections, which are in mohair, this is also dandelion and dogwood. This is her mohair, and it's in She's Naked, so I think it's just undyed basically. So those are the two I used. I did go into the third skein, but I think that was because I decided to knit the sleeves at the same time. Was that why? Because I'm pretty sure I've got another little tiny ball of the second skein left over, so I'm not sure if I would have needed 3 skeins even if not. I think I did. I think I would have just got into my third skein. But I knit a size that isn't in the pattern, I guess. Well, I made some modifications to the pattern. So let's just show you that. Although that's not, because I haven't got a picture on the front actually. There it is on the pattern. So it's the Lace and Fade Boxy. It's by Hokey Locatelli, and I did print off the cover page apparently. So I knit size 3 when it came to the length of things, but I made up one size smaller when it came to the width. So I used the stitch repeats that were in the pattern to kind of work out what it would be if I went down one more size. So my neck, just because I didn't want too much width, you know, I didn't want it to be too boxy. I wanted it to be oversized, but I didn't want it to be too huge. So I cast on the amount of stitches for not even the smallest size, what would be the next size below if it was there. But when it came to the rows, I followed all the row directions for the size 3, so I got the length and everything I needed. And also I generally tend to need to add a little bit more to the body and the sleeve length. So because it's in stripes and the lace sections are set, because you just work the lace pattern as it said, I did, I think I extended out each of these stripes just a tiny little bit, just to make sure I had enough length on the bottom, because it doesn't need to be a long jumper. It's reasonably, well, I wouldn't say it's cropped, but you know, it's not long. So I just wanted to make sure I got that sort of nice length so it sat, you know, where I wanted it to. And again with the sleeves, I think that's why I cast them both on at the same time, just so I could sort of get a good idea of how they would look when I'm wearing it. So I was trying it on and seeing how much more sleeve I needed to add. But I found before, if I knit one sleeve, I feel like I've got it a good length, and when I knit the other one, the sort of jumper hangs a bit differently. I don't know if it sort of pulls more that way because I've got the weight of the sleeve on it, and when I put the other sleeve on, they're suddenly not quite right again. So I think I put both sleeves on at the same time so I could try and check, yes, that's definitely where I want it to be. So that's what I did. So otherwise, other than those sort of changing the kind of aspect ratio of the jumper, yeah, apart from that, I followed everything else in the pattern. I didn't make any other changes apart from the jiggery pokery with the stitch count essentially. Yeah, so really happy with this. It was a really lovely knit. Sorry, I'm looking at it on the screen because you describe and you want to see where you're pointing, so back to you. Yes, it was a really lovely knit, and it seemed to go quite quickly. I think I didn't have too much else I was working on. I kept sort of reverting to this and was reasonably monogamous on it, so I sort of felt like I powered through it quite quickly, which was good because I've wanted to knit a boxy, you know, just the regular boxy for a long time, and a lot of people have said just how many stitches there are and how it feels like, you know, it just takes forever because it's just so long. So I was a little bit worried about getting bored with it, which is part of another reason why I wanted to make sure I didn't have too much width. Apart from I didn't want it to be too baggy on the fit, I was also a bit conscious of I don't want to lose my, you know, lose the will to complete it. But I think with this being stripes and you having the lace pattern, you've got that nice sort of relief of, you do a bit of just plain knitting, but then you've got a little bit more interest, and you sort of, it helps mark off the different stages. You're like, oh, I finished another lace bit, oh that's good, I've got to a next section. So it's like, you know, little milestones along the way, which always makes things easier, I find. And then while I'm talking knitting, I have another finished knitting project, which is these stripy mitts. So I've been quite inspired by the VLOGMAS videos I've been watching. I don't know if you can hear the rain on the roof here. It's quite loud when you're in here to me. So I hope it's not going to be too disruptive for you. Hopefully it will just be recognised as background noise and they won't focus on that. But yeah, so I've been quite inspired by the VLOGMAS videos I've been watching, and I think the first one I started to catch up on was Jules, So Sweet Violet, and she'd started some socks in this yarn. This is dandelion and dogwood yarn as well, actually. What is it called? Ooh, that's a good question. It's something like Frozen Window Panes and Candy Stripes or something like that. I'll have to put it down here because I can't remember and I haven't got the band. Yeah, anyway, she got this skein out and I thought, oh, I recognise that. I'm sure I got one of those because it came with an advent quite a few years ago, possibly 2019. I thought, I'm pretty sure that was the advent I've got. I'm pretty sure that's the one. So I checked in my stash and yes, I had it. So anyway, I liked the way her socks were knitting up in this self-striping. I didn't realise that this was how it was going to knit up from looking at it in the skein. But when she sort of showed it and said, oh look, it's this self-striping pattern, I thought, oh, I really like that. And it sort of was a skein that, although it was really pretty, I hadn't particularly been drawn to use it because there was nothing that made me sort of think, oh yeah, I really want to make that using that yarn. But when I saw that it came out like this, I was like, oh, that's really cute. You know, I want to use that. So I nearly cast on socks, but then I changed my mind at the last minute because I just haven't been really drawn to knitting socks for a long time. I had quite a few years, you know, quite a patch where I made loads and I wanted to knit them all the time. I was just really enjoyed knitting them, but I've kind of gone out of that phase now. So I just went for some nice plain mitts because I just thought then I can literally cast on, knit a tube and then stop. I don't even have to bother with a heel or anything, so it was part laziness as well. But I think I'll use these more because I've got loads of socks. Of course, with us all trying to sort of, you know, not save energy where possible, it's getting back to that stage where I'm inclined to, you know, I mean, I always put another jumper on before I'd put the heating on, but, you know, you sort of think, well, maybe, you know, a little extra warm things that you can wear is going to help things along. So I thought mitts would be good. So, yes, so that's the main body. And then for the cuffs, I just used, wow, the rain is really going to town now. This is crazy. The mitts, the cuffs, sorry, I just used some leftover that I had in stash, and I don't think I have any idea what it is. It might have been some Eden Cottage yarn actually that I had left over from when I made my Tressico jumper, possibly. Yes, and I also put on it, one of my favourite things about this is these little tabs that I've put on. So I ordered these from Ellie at Craft House Magic before Christmas, and they arrived and they were so pretty. I got two sets, so there's these ones which you kind of fold over that've got the heart, so you can either have the heart side out or the made with love side out, and you can just fold that over cuffs. And then I got some little square ones as well. So I think she had them in her shop and I missed them. I missed the update. You know, Instagram does everything out of order, so I was too late by the time I saw the post. So I was like, oh, these are lovely, you know, shame I missed out, but, you know, great that you sold them all, that's fab. And then when she got some more in, she was kind enough to message me and say, oh, I've got some more in the shop, if you still want them. And I was like, yes! So I nipped over quickly and got some while they were still in stock this time. But they're so pretty, and aren't they just a perfect colour match? There's a range of colours. I should have brought them up to show you actually. There's a range of different colours, and they're all lovely colours, but these ones, as it happened, I didn't plan this, I just got them out afterwards to see which colour would look best. But these ones were perfect. So yes, very happy with them, very happy with that extra little touch on the bottom there. I think that looks really good. And so does my sister actually, because when she came round to it, she was like, oh, those are really nice. I'd like something like that. So yeah, so I feel I will be making another pair. Then let's keep to the theme of knitting for now, and let's move on to another pair of mitts I'm making. Not my sister's pair yet. I'd started these before she made her request, but I did make them using a lovely gift. So I got I got quite a few lovely things for Christmas from just things I'd ordered myself and lovely things from friends. And I got a lovely gift box from Sam. I shouldn't be showing you this really, this is goodies. But look, I've got some lovely linen fabrics in there, some nice gorgeous soap, smells divine, some hand cream. And look, it's beautiful Christmas decoration. There's some chockies in there as well, but she also sent me 2 skeins of this. So Coop Knits Sock, yeah, and this is in the Axonite colourway, 103 Axonite. Isn't that a stunningly beautiful colour? I hope it seems like it's showing up reasonably true on the camera despite my lighting issues, so really pretty. So I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with these, but what I've gone for is I had this in stash already. So this is a mohair yarn. Oh, I haven't got the label in here for this either. Honestly, useless today. Oh no, I have. So it's this Isaga, don't know how you say that. Colour 62, that is. So silk mohair, 25 grams there. I think I got that from Loop in London, possibly when I went with Sam actually. Anyway, yeah, so I thought hold those together and another pair of fluffy mitts. Obviously the idea of mitts had taken me by that time. So I have made one so far. Look how fluffy and gorgeous that is. And I wanted something, so these are, because they're just 4-ply, they're nice and warm, but they are relatively thin. So I thought I want something that's going to be kind of a bulkier stitch pattern. I was thinking crochet at first, I think. So I wanted something that would be a little bit more kind of heavyweight and sort of with the mohair nice and fluffy and soft. So I found this one on Ravelry and I thought this fit the bill perfectly. It's got some nice cables in there, sort of make the fabric a bit denser. And it's just got this twisted rib on the back, and I've left my stitch marker on. But yeah, this was just the sort of thing I was looking for. I really like this. I thought they were super pretty. So I don't actually like knitting cables because it's fiddly and it slows you down and it takes quite a long time, and I don't like that. But I do love how they look, and I really love how they look on these. And this just, I saw this pattern, I thought that's exactly what I was looking for. You know when you have kind of something in your mind's eye and then you've got to trawl through and see if you can find it? This was it. When I found this I knew I'd found the right one. So I've knit one of those and I need to knit the other, but let me tell you about the pattern. I could show you the picture, but my printer is running out of ink, so that doesn't looks like a ghost or something is haunting the mitt. Yeah, so these are Linda Kay's Yummy Mummy wrist warmers, but they're designed by Alexandra E. Brink. There. Brink, maybe? Yeah, maybe it's just Brink. Yeah, so that's a free pattern as well on Ravelry. I mean, how generous is that? That's gorgeous. I love it. And then, I mean, I was looking through paid for patterns, free. I was trawling through them all. It took me quite a few pages to find this one. I couldn't believe it was free. Yeah, so really gorgeous. Very happy with that. Lovely and warm. And I think I might kind of prioritise these for a bit because I want to get through them so I can wear them, because they are gorgeous. And I've got this in my Elderflower Stitches bag. So I got an Elderflower Stitches Advent this year, and I went for the project bag as well. So I'll put that in. Look at that fabric, isn't that just gorgeous? Lovely. Oh, and I've also got, this was a present from my sister as well, she got me some lovely little snips. They're not higher ones, but you know, that sort of style of thing, those little tiny little snips. And she also got me these needle stoppers, which are really cute. Yeah, so, oh, the other thing about the pattern is I think I'm not using quite the right weight of yarn. What does it call for? Blue Sky alpaca silk. So 133 meters for 50 grams. So what's that? 266 meters for 100. Yeah, so I think it's more or less a sport weight. No. 266 meters for 100. That's more like a DK, isn't it? A light DK. Yeah, so because this is fingering weight yarn, and I'm holding it together, I was kind of hoping that it would work out roughly the same. I thought it would be a bit thicker because mohair kind of adds bulk, doesn't it? So I think it's probably a little bit thicker yarn than the pattern really wants. It's probably like a very quite heavy DK, or almost like an Aran when it's together, possibly. Not really an Aran, I don't know. You'd probably knit to an Aran pattern, I don't know. Because it's quite, I've got quite a dense fabric, it's quite tight, which I quite like because it just adds to that sort of denser, nice and warm feel to me. But I did still knit it on the same needle, so I've got quite small needles for holding the two yarns together, if you see what I mean. And I don't think it's going to say on here what they are. No, it doesn't. But I'm pretty sure. So it's saying to use 2.75 mil, which I'm pretty sure that is what I used. Because I thought I'll try it out, and if it's too tight, I'll have to go up a needle size. And then I thought I would just sort of remove some of these ribbing stitches if I needed to kind of, you know, adjust the pattern. I thought, oh, that's fine, I'll just take some of them out and it'll all come out in the wash, it'll be fine. Or I could have, you know, where's it? Can we see here? So here, where there's like 2 purl stitches by that cable, maybe I could have lost one of those either side. Something like that. I thought, you know, a little bit of jiggery pokery and I'll get there. But I just started knitting. I didn't bother with a swatch because it's so small. This is the swatch, isn't it? So I just started knitting to see how it would come out, and it seemed like it'd be fine. And they are. They're nice and snug. They sort of feel firm on, if you see what I mean. They're not like they're baggy or loose. They're nice and firm and secure. And yeah, so they're just perfect, really. So yeah, I do want to get on and finish the second one of those, and then I can get on to my sister's bit. So what else I've been up to? Let's talk about some crochet. I'm hoping I can get some footage in so you can see this in all its glory. But I have been making, finally, after years and years of meaning to, I've been making little doggy jumpers for Bert. So this is the first one. So I kind of had a false start before this, which I had quite a few goes on to get like the width right. So I measured him around his neck, and then I measured him down like lower, because Dachshunds have such chests, don't they? So I measured him sort of lower, where about his leg opening would be, and then I measured him after his leg opening, and then I sort of got an idea of length that I was wanting, and I thought, well, I'll use those measurements as a guide. But I sort of worked up a bit. This is my way of saying I didn't use a pattern, by the way, I was just winging it. Yeah, so I kind of worked up a bit and then tried it on. I thought, oh, that's okay, worked up a bit more, try it on, okay, it's way too loose, take it back. Yeah, so I just messed around with it. I did one that was kind of way too big. It was like going right out, and it was just getting too big. So I restarted, and I thought I'd have another go, and then this was that other go. And I was sort of more or less on the right tracks by then, so I think I've had to finesse down here. I think I had to add a few more increases down here and then carry on again. But it was as good as gold. I thought he might not like it because he doesn't like wearing his coat, really, when he goes out. But I think it's because they always rub under his arms. And if you're not careful and don't keep an eye on them, he will end up with sore patches there, because he didn't used to. But then one time he did, and you know, I didn't realise because he'd never had a problem before, and then he had sort of quite a sore little patch under his arm, poor thing. So then he, you know, he didn't want to go out walking then, because it was rubbing and not, you know, not comfortable for him. So then once that healed up, I've been sort of checking since then, and quite a few things do rub. So I'm hoping, because I can make the leg holes like nice and away from his armpits, his leg pits, I suppose, that hopefully it won't rub, and it'll be a way of, you know, and it's nice and soft. Hopefully it'll be a way of him having something warm he can wear, but that he won't mind wearing. Because he has got another coat which doesn't rub, but it does kind of impede his movement a bit. It's fine, he can run along and he's fine, but he just doesn't like it. He's quite reluctant to put it on. He will, but he's like, yeah, he sort of comes over very slowly, like, oh no. And he won't come over when he's called for his walk if he knows if I've got the coat, because he's like, oh, you've got the coat. Whereas if I don't, he comes, he's like, all right, yeah, let's go. As long as it's not raining outside. If he hears, or if he's been out and he knows it's raining, he won't come over. He's not interested. Anyway, that's by the by. The point is, I've made this, which I'm hoping will do a better job. He doesn't want to go out in the rain anyway, so I don't need to worry too much about that. But if they can provide a bit of extra warmth for the cold days, then I think he will be happier. So yes, what am I telling you? Yeah, so I wanted this kind of like, I thought a little band of grannies would sort of kind of mimic a little Fair Isle jumper type scenario. And then I'll show you it this way. And then I literally just did a square for the leg hole. I just stopped, joined it on again to get a little bit of belly strap, and it just fits over and his legs tuck through. And then once I thought I'd left enough space, I rejoined again and started working in the round. And then once we've got a little bit under his belly, then I just started working in rows again. So you can see where the stitch changes. If this was like a garment for me or something, that would drive me up the wall. I wouldn't be able to have that. But it is just for Bert. And actually it's not that noticeable, the fact that it's all right side and then I'm doing rows wrong and right. I mean, you can see it clearly, but it's not that bad. So yeah, I was quite happy with that. So yeah, so then I started to sort of curve away from the belly and gave it a bit more length, and I just curved it at the end to make a nice end and stuck some edging on. So just a little bit of front post crochet on there to make a kind of ribbon type effect, and I put a little bit extra around the neck, and that's it. So I was very pleased with that. And he does, like I say, he seems happy to wear them. He comes trotting over and he sticks his nose right in straight away, so very happy with that. And he didn't seem to mind them trying on. You know, he'd quite happily come over when I said, I want to try it on, Bert. Come on, can I try it on? He'd come trotting over, so I'm so surprised. I just didn't think that would be his thing at all. I thought he'd be like, oh, don't want to put these on. But yeah, he's been fine about it. So I think he quite likes them. I think he does actually quite like the warmth. When I'd finished this, I popped it on him and was trying to get a bit of film of him wearing it, which he was okay wearing it, but he wasn't particularly cooperating with film. And then he just went off and curled up in his basket and went to sleep with it on. So it's like, seems quite happy with that. Yeah, so yarn I used was Starcraft, Bellissima and Bambino DK. Because it's exactly the same yarn and the same weight, it just comes under different names for different colours. The Bambino has more of a baby colour range, and the Bellissima is just all the other colours, I guess. So I can't remember which is which of this. Oh, the only one that's not that yarn is this green, because there's kind of more appley, like an olivey green, couple of colours, and then like quite a bright appley green, and this, you know, that sort of more yellowy green, and there's nothing in this sort of more jadey, emeraldy, sort of mid-green tone that I prefer. So yeah, and I can't remember what this was because it does match in really quite well with the Bambino yarn. I'll put it down here, I'll find out what that is and put it down there so you can see, because I think it was a more expensive yarn, that's the downside, but it's a good match. The weight is good, the look of it is good, texturally it matches in really well. So yeah, if you're interested in the colours I used as well, I'll perhaps pop those into show notes for you. So that's that one, and then once that one worked out, because I made some pattern notes so I could make him some more, I just had another go following through to make sure I could follow my pattern okay. So this is my second one, which I went for. It was going to be a bit more Christmassy, but I don't know if it's quite colourful enough to be Christmassy. But yeah, I wanted something with the red. This is the kind of brightest red I've got, so I might have a go with a, kind of want to make him a Christmas jumper, you see, obviously. What a, yeah, so I might have a look through and see if I can rustle up a brighter red and go with something even more Christmassy. But I think this is kind of Christmassy-ish. I've got a different green in this one. This was another green. It does the same job, it's very similar. But it's just one I had in stash that I'd got to match in with, and just seeing how close they are. Yeah, they're pretty close. Yeah, again, it was just finding things that match in. This one's okay, but it's kind of a shinier yarn. Don't know if you can tell on this. Yeah, it looks quite different in the, you know, in the ball, but you can't really notice it on something like that. But yeah, so this is, other than that, this is all the Bellissima and Bambino again. Probably mostly Bellissima, as this is sort of more saturated colours. So I did this exactly the same up until the very end, because I just went for, so if you can see on this one, I've got quite a nice rounded shape. So it sort of curves round quite nicely. But I wanted to sort of see if I could get a bit more warmth sort of on his hind region, so I kind of went straighter here, so it came down over his back legs a bit more, and I thought that might be better to keep him a bit warmer when he's outside. So I just tried that slightly different shape just to see which is best on him. So yeah, that's great fun, and they haven't taken that long to do, especially because I've been doing these sort of over Christmas when I've had more time to sit and do them. I think perhaps a couple of days it takes me to do them really, but you know, you feel like if you had a really lazy day where you didn't have to do anything else at all, I could probably get one done in a day. Maybe not all the ends woven in as well, but you know. But yeah, so I'm having so much fun making these, and I have plans for more. I want to do more. But if he likes them and he's actually okay with wearing them outside, I don't know how well they'll last, because they're going to get mucky, aren't they? So he might need a little wardrobe full, right? That's fine, right? That's justifiable and acceptable, right? Tell me it's fine. Yeah. So dog jumpers. That's the only crochet I've got on the go at the moment. Well, I have got something else, but I don't want to tell you about it yet, because I think it's going to be a nice pattern idea, and I'm really excited about it. So I really want to tell you, but you know, me and patterns, it takes me for ages, so there's no point in going, hey, there's this thing, you can't have it yet for ages. So I'll wait till it's closer to the time. It's better in the long run. It's for your own good, believe me. But yeah, I am excited for it. But yeah, I'll try and work on that on the background, so it does mean, you know, it looks like I'm not doing any crochet, but I am really. Anyway, embroidery, that's what I'm talking about next. So at the Christmas podcast, if you're here for the Christmas special podcast by the tree, I was talking about my stitchery advent, again from a few years ago. It might have been that 2019 year, because I think I got quite a few things that year. So I was talking about the fact I'd made these. So I got 6, I think. Yeah, 6 of these in. Nikki had an advent calendar. I don't know if it was a 12-day one, or anyway, but it had 6 of these beautiful embroidery sets in. So this Joy and Peace was for some tags, which I made and finished, and there's lots of other ones that I've got here as well. And I've been working my way through them. I've been meaning to do this since I got them. and I finally got round to it. So when I was on the Christmas podcast, I think I had started this one. I don't think I had finished it. So this one's Gorgeous Darla Horse. So this one is a little bit, I started with this one because I felt it was a little bit more simple in terms of it's like single or stitches that I knew anyway. Single stitches, there's some chain stitch in there, and there's only a tiny little bit of filling in type stitch. So I was reasonably confident I could do that one okay. So that was good. And then all the other ones had some kind of way where you had to fill in colour, and that was a bit I'm not confident at. Because I thought with satin stitch it's always hard, I always find it wants to wonk off in different directions. And then I'm not really quite sure what any of these other infill stitches are, if I'm perfectly frank. Nikki tells you what to do, and sometimes I'm not entirely sure what she means, so I've looked it up on the internet as best I can to find out, and I've kind of just done my own thing. So there's a bit where she says fill it in with split stitches. So I was like, okay, I know what that is. But things like this polar bear, for example, I have finished it now. Let's see if I can get it nice and close for you so you can see. I can't remember exactly what the instruction was for this. But yeah, I was a bit worried about how I would do it, but I am so pleased with how he came out, especially when I started. He looked absolutely horrific when I started. So you start with this sort of slightly different colour around the edge, which I was doing, and it says to start with one strand, again, which I did. Actually, no, I didn't. I think on the shading colour I forgot to read the instructions properly, and I was doing it with two. So I was putting my sort of, you've got some around his back and his bum there and down his leg. So I was putting those on, I was putting stitches in. I thought, this looks bad, it looks bad. I'll just keep going, but it looks really bad. Yeah, so that kind of put me off for a bit, to be honest. I did put it down for quite a while after that. Yeah, and then I thought, well, I'll carry on. I'll just keep stitching away until, you know, if he looks awful, well, you'll just have to mark him down to experience. So then I went on to the white colour and started filling in. So it does say one strand, which I was doing at first. I just felt like I was getting nowhere. I'd be like working away, I'm like, there's nothing there, I can't even see anything. So I switched back to two strands, so it's probably not, you know, as nicely refined as it should look, but, and then I just started going, and it still looked awful, and then eventually I started making, I think I just got impatient and a bit fed up, and I started making these longer strands. I thought, well, at least I'll just get it done anyway. But then it started to look a little bit better. It looked a little bit more like hair. So after that, I just kept going, and anywhere where a bit didn't look very good or looked a bit dodgy, I just shoved some more stitches on top of it until I thought it looked a bit more acceptable. So there it is. It's not as good as the picture, obviously, when you see it up close, but it's not bad. I'm really pleased with it, considering. And yeah, so I've got his scarf in. That wasn't too bad either, even though there's some satin stitch in there. There's little stripes to keep me on track. So yeah, so after that, and I felt I'd done that to an okay standard. I was away then, I was quite happy. So I've done the polar bear. Next I moved on and did the car with the tree on top, which is so cute. I think this is maybe my favourite one. Again, I had a bit of an issue with the tree. It wasn't very much fun to do the tree, to be honest with you, because I was obsessing with how it looks, you see. But I just thought, I'll just keep stitching. That's my motto, just keep stitching. But I was quite pleased with filling in the car. Again, that was where there were instructions. I don't think I've perhaps done it quite right, but I've got it, you know, it's all coloured in red and it doesn't look hideous, so I think that's okay. So I think that's all right. And then the angel is, I think, is my best one. This is my angel. So I put her off towards the end because I was quite scared of her, especially once I'd started using the silver threads, because that's quite tricky. Thread. It's a little bit tricky because it's kind of stiff, the metallic-y threads. So yeah, so I put her off till now. But I think she came out alright. Her skirt, I filled in her skirt. That was the best filling in I'd done so far. Quite pleased with that. That's better than the polar bear and everything. So I've definitely improved. And then it's got, I don't know if you can tell, but it's got some silvery little flecks in her skirt as well. Yeah. And then last but not least, because this is what I've been building up to, again, one of my favourites. Let me show you the picture. Well, they're all my favourites, they're all gorgeous, but the car and the soldier, I thought my favourites before I started. But actually I really like the angel now, she's come out so nicely. Yeah, so I thought I'll do other ones first and hopefully my skills will improve and then I won't make a total mess by the time I get to the soldier. So he's ready to go. I haven't started him yet, but I've got him loaded up ready. And this is what he actually looks like. So again, all that filling in, the satin stitch on there, the silver. That's why he was the one I was most scared to do. That's what I've done them in reverse order of most scaredness. So he's the most scary and I started with the one I thought was least scary. But yeah, I'm less scared now because I think I can get something that might not be exactly as written, you know, exactly done as it should be, but at least I get it to look okay, so that's alright. Yeah. So, I can't remember how, I think I started the car sort of during Christmas time and that was as far as I got. And then as January's come round, I just did the angel last weekend and then I shall hopefully get him done either during the week or this weekend. So I want to get them done so that I can then make them up into a decoration to hang on the tree. So I might turn them into hearts, which I think is on one of the front covers. It shows it as a heart. Oh yeah, the angels is a heart, look. So I might do that, or I might put them in little embroidery hoops. So if I cover this with some nice Liberty fabric and just make it a smaller size and kind of like a bow and a hang. So I might do that. And hopefully they'll be ready for next Christmas, but you never know. So I had this idea over Christmas that I want a handmade Christmas tree. And I don't actually mean the tree, I mean a regular tree. It'd be nice to get a little sort of brought real tree really, but I don't know if that'll happen. But I like the idea of having just completely handmade decorations on it. So I've got a few. Oops, I'm beeping. I've got a few that I could use, but like this could add to it. So I could have this set on here. And then there was some stars that, again, this was on Jules' podcast. Some Liberty diamonds and they made them into stars and put felt backing on the back. And I also got some little decorations in Jules' sale. She had, I don't know if you saw them, she had some little teddy bears with Liberty fabrics in, so I got a set of those in sale. But yeah, I'm quite like this idea that I've had of making a handmade decorated tree. I mean, I've got too many decorations as it is, so it's a really bad idea. But given how into Christmas I am and decorating, I've got a lot of decorations which might be, you know, that's kind of understandable. But given how much I'm into hand making things and crafty things, it's surprising how few handmade decorations I've got. I've got a few gifts and there's a couple of things I've made, but not that many really. But yeah, I quite like that idea. And I was also thinking like I might make a thing every month. So either something each month, or maybe if it's a small thing, a little set of something each month up till Christmas, and then I'd have enough things to decorate the tree with come December. I don't know if that will happen. I don't know if I'll have enough time to make that happen in reality, but I am quite taken with that idea. I do quite like it. So I don't know. But if I do, these are kind of going to be my January ones because because it's taking time, but maybe I'll think of something else and do a little project in February. I could do some nice crochet star flakes. Yeah, there's lots of things you could do, isn't there? But I quite like that idea. Right, let's crack on. This is getting too long. So just a tiny little bit of goodies to show you. So let's show you this one first because I was so excited by this one. So I have been watching and following on Instagram for a while now lovely Daki, who is Wool and the Forest, and she's got a gorgeous podcast, absolutely just perfect. She obviously knows what she's doing with the video camera, and she's obviously very creative, and those things married together make for really beautiful videos. And she's also got that kind of that calming, relaxed, peaceful vibe that I really, really enjoy as well. So she did a little bit of VLOGMAS, which was so nice. But yeah, just the videos, oh, they're just beautiful, so nicely done. Anyway, so I've been following her for a while, and she has an indigo vat, so she hand dyes with indigo, and just makes the most amazing things. And just, it kind of, I don't know, just the craftsmanship, the work, the knowledge, the sort of, just the ability to be able to do that is amazing to me, and it just makes such stunning things. So she'd made some, she dyed up some indigo yarn before, and it was on her Instagram, and it was just so divine. I thought, if, I don't know if she had, I didn't know at the time that she had any plans to sell any, but I thought if she ever does, and if somehow I could get hold of it, you know, if she ships, because she's based in America, and if she ships outside of America even, I need to get myself one of those. So lo and behold, come sort of December, that's exactly what she did. She said, I'm going to have a shop, you know, opening, and there's going to be some things on there. And I thought, well, I don't know quite what she's planning, but I'm definitely going to be having a look. So she had indigo yarn on there, so I just had to get one. I don't really order anything from America anymore because the postage is just so expensive. It's not the goods are fine, but it's just the postage costs are so expensive. And then once it lands here, you're going to have to pay, you know, you quite often have to pay customs fees, and then you have to pay a fee to the Royal Mail for them to process that customs fee for you. So you just end up paying, you know, this. I fully expected for the getting it here to be far more expensive than the actual yarn. So that's why normally I don't bother, but in this I had to make an exception in this case because it would be such a treat for me to have this that I thought, no, and it's Christmas, so why not? You know, it's just something I really want and will treasure, so it's going to be worth it. But as it happened, I didn't get customs charge, and I didn't have to pay any fees. So although the postage was obviously expensive, it probably was about the same price, if not slightly more than the yarn, but it's just the way of the world at the moment, isn't it? What can you do? It's just so worth it. It's 1,000 times worth it. I love it. Anyway, let me show it to you instead of gushing constantly. Look at that. So it is a cotton yarn. So it's 100% GOTS certified unbleached organic cotton base. Now I didn't know what the GOTS was, but it's to do with the textile standard, and I think it's to do with the way it's produced as well. So it's yeah, a beautiful organic cotton base dyed in the most wonderful way. Oh, I haven't really got the words to sort of describe it. Just knowing what has gone into creating this just makes it so special to me. But yeah, as well as being just absolutely beautiful as an item in itself, that alone, everything else about it. But just those, the colour, the blue, it's stunning. But just these little variations, like slightly paler there but deeper here. It's just my absolute favourite. It's so beautiful. So I've got 437 yards of this, so it's 100 grams worth. So I am thinking this needs to be a very special thing. I do want to use it, and I want to use it before too long, but I don't want to use it too quickly either. So I know I want it to be a nice sort of summer kind of scarf-y shawl. I wanted it to be something I could wear, something that I would see a lot, so that I can, you know, see its beauty often. I want it to be nice and light and open so that I can have a reasonable size with the yarn I've got. And I'm also hoping that maybe I'll have a little tiny bit left over for something else. So at first I was just thinking the shawl, and then when I saw it and when it came, I just thought maybe a few little things so I see it in more places would be even better. So yes, but I still think the shawl idea is just beautiful. But if there's enough, if I can make sure there's enough that I could just do something else. I was thinking even like a little beautiful tassel, so I could put it on something, you know, like my project bag, and just have it. Yeah, I just want to be able to appreciate it often, because that's what I get pleasure from with things, is just, you know, I quite often have yarn just sat out in a basket where I can see it, just because I like it. So yeah, so that was very special. And beautiful, beautiful Daki also included some lovely little gifts. So these, oh, these so adorable acorns. Look, little felted acorns. I think this is one of the only things I've seen felted that makes me go, oh, I want to do felting now as well. So they are just adorable. And also I was thinking, I mean, I've just got them in the basket with me now because they're just nice and they feel amazing as well. Wouldn't they be nice if I could somehow incorporate them into the handmade tree? I don't know how I would attach them though, because I don't want to do anything to damage the shells. But you could have them as a little hanging thing on the tree. That would be gorgeous as well. So they're really lovely, and she also put this beautiful fabric in as well. Isn't that nice? Oh, the light is not showing this as nicely though. Let's go back a bit. That's a bit better colour, but I want to show you the beautiful striping on it. Wasn't that generous? So kind. So thank you so much for that. I have also said thank you in person, but I'm saying thank you here as well because I absolutely love it. So I've been enjoying that, and also it came really quickly. I thought it would take forever to come because we've been, you know, they've been saying about delays worldwide anyway, so I thought that's one thing that would delay it. And then we've been having raw mail strikes here, and there's been horror stories about that. So after I ordered it, I did suddenly think, oh my god, what if it doesn't come at all? What if they lose it? Oh. But as it turned out, I didn't worry at all, because even despite all of those things that could have delayed it, it still came really quickly. Yeah, so it came after Christmas. It came in time for my birthday, so that was a nice treat. So yeah, so I was really, really pleased with that. So well done, postal people, for coming through for me there. Yeah. So that will be pondered on, and when the right thing, when I know exactly what the right thing is, then that will be used. But yes, I'm looking forward to that. And then the other thing to show you is my advent calendar from Elderflower Stitches. So I've been opening this. I didn't show this on my vlog for some reason. I don't know why, on my VLOGMAS. I think I just didn't get round to it. Yeah, but I've had fun opening this each day. And I've just rescanned them actually. They were in sort of like the kind of half size, like that, the tighter ones, and I kind of just rewound them to make them longer, just because I just find them easier to store that way. Because, you know, most of my other minis that I have are in this kind of format, so I just thought it'd be easier to keep everything the same. But aren't they pretty? But it was quite nice in opening them all up and then twisting them, you get to see all the beautiful colours even more clearly, so that was actually quite fun to do. Yeah, but there's so many beauties in there. I don't know what they will become yet. I have not got a plan as yet for those. So they will be sitting and admiring, which is what they are doing. They're in a basket by my chair at the moment, so they'll be sitting and being admired for a bit. And I shall mull what to do with those. But yes, the right thing will come when the time is right. I've got another advent calendar that I got another year that's been just sitting on the side in here. And I think I know what that's going to be now. So the right thing will come. Right, so that's it from me, and I'm running out of battery, so I'm going to quickly say goodbye now before it cuts me off. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you'd like to give me a thumbs up or a subscribe, that would be fantastic. And I shall very much look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!